Welcome back to the channel. Today we're far out here in the Arizona desert at this old mine town called Swansea. It's a very well visited site, and it's kind of hard to believe that once there was all these buildings out here. This is a pretty big copper mining boom town, and now it's a ghost town. So here we are checking it out. It's gonna be awesome. Let's get right into it. So like I said, we're pretty far out in the middle of nowhere here, and it's kind of hard to believe there was once a full community living out here in Swansea. This was a booming copper mine operation, and you can see the I believe those were the buildings out there for the mine laborers. This is the place that anyone can visit if you have a vehicle like this. They come out here. They have information signs. They have a bathroom. Here is your information on Swansea here. The prospecting and mining began in 1960. I'm sorry. So the prospecting and mining first began in 1862. The picture's kind of faded there. Looks like you have some miners there pushing an ore cart. Biological information here. And this is what Western Adventures always preaches: respect and protect. Leave historic artifacts where you find them, because someone else may come out here and there will be no more artifacts, and people will be like, well, how can we tell what went on here if there's nothing left? So it's always important to leave stuff where you found it and enjoy what is left for the next visitor. Just under 90 degrees today. Not terrible. So we drove down quite a ways on some dirt roads to get out here. And the roads are in pretty good shape. But if you have a passenger car, it probably won't make it out here. So right now we're standing on this big open shaft right here, and they put this thing here to keep people safe so they don't fall in. And right here, I think I already see some artifacts. This looks like it's part of an old tin, a tobacco tin, like a Prince Albert can. And it's very, very weathered. All decaying here. Not the best example we found of one, but it's part of the history here at Swansea. I'm gonna leave that there. But yeah, they did a really good job keeping this closed off over here. This wasn't the smelter. This was the general store, built in 1909. Like I said, this town started in the 1900s. And even though that sign back there said in the 1800s, everything here was really developed in the 1900s. This is when they started developing everything. Pretty big general store here. I'm assuming this sign says the same thing. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. This was all one big building. So that sign that says general store, it was probably maybe just this section right here. And then over here you have a sign that says the mess and recreation hall. this part was added on in 1912. I believe that's the same year the Titanic sank. But anyway, this is the mess and recreation hall right here. It probably went from here over maybe to there. That's probably when they added that. And then this section right here says something different. The Clara Consolidated Offices in 1909. So basically, this was probably one whole building, and there were just different sections they added on or made into something for this town here. And there's nothing really left of this place, of this, and there's nothing really left of this building here. And just heard a, sounds like a sonic boom of sort. I did see a military jet earlier. That was interesting. But yeah, this is the foundation. Bunch of corrugated metal. Some more tin. We got an old can down here. This one might be a little newer. It says, "Please don't litter." Yeah, there's some newer garbage in here mixed with the artifacts. So, like I said, at one point, a pretty decent sized structure. This was the top level, and this was probably their basement level right here. We're gonna hop on out of here. Okay, here's more of it right here. This is probably the floor right here. That flat pad right there, I'm assuming. It would be nice if they would have put pictures of what this one looked like back in the day. So we're gonna go over here. And here's the housing for the miners here at Swansea, right here. These are actually still in pretty good shape, all things considered. But yes, this is where all the miners would live. And we do need to watch out for snakes in here. Like they get out of the sun during the heat of the day and come out later. So you will find them in areas like this. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one today. So here's a really good example of what the floors in here looked like. I would love to see one of these restored and brought back to the condition of how it was when people were living in these. I think it would be pretty cool to see. But yeah, this is just ridiculous. Come on, guys. This is history right here, and people are just absolutely defacing it. Yeah, Ugh. Pisses me off. Pisses me off to see vandalism like this. But it doesn't look like this place is kept up that well. I read someone left in the guest book. Had a great time visiting, but I wish it was a little. I wish it was a little bit better kept. And I agree with them. Maybe put cameras or something so people don't vandalize these structures. But yeah, we're gonna look in every single one of these. You never know what we'll find. So if you look at those brackets, you couldn't get those back in the day. So it looks like they were kind of working on these, but that's about all they really did. Good Lord. Someone really took the time to carve that in there. For 1991. Well, I'm not going to bore you with looking in every single one of these. If I find something interesting, I'll film it. This one here has the frame. It looks like someone started putting down plywood here. Looks like someone might have started to restore this one, but not anymore. And people don't seem to understand what the sign says. Enjoy, but please do not destroy your American heritage. Okay, we're gonna go up here, check all this out, and then we're gonna head over there. Here's the sign here. And like I said, yep, I was correct. These are the worker cottages from 1917. Ah, the assay office from 1908. Then over here, yeah, I missed these because I went that way. I didn't look at these. Let's see what the sign says over here. Asarco General Offices, 1929. I didn't think Asarco went back that far. That's interesting. Let's see if we can get a look. Kind of hard to tell. Don't see. That one goes down quite a ways. Nothing much left of the leaf springs. Looks like someone cut off the rest of the truck. Should have gone out to here. Everything's gone. Usually I found abandoned vehicles that still have the motors and everything in them, but this thing has been picked clean. Alright, we're gonna go check this out now. I think I see a portal, but knowing this area, it's probably barred off. But what I find interesting is they got the top blocked off and they got this blocked off, but if you look, it doesn't look like this one goes anywhere. So wouldn't you think this is kind of a waste of metal? I mean, it looks like this was just a small exploratory. Could go around that way. Let's have a look before we rule that out. Yeah, so this was a small exploratory. I was right. That doesn't go anywhere, and also that doesn't go anywhere. Kind of a waste to bar this one up. But it looks like people have actually gone in there, and well, I could just imagine they were disappointed when they figured out this didn't go anywhere. Oh, and this stuff isn't cheap to make all these kind of things. Okay, it looks like we have another, I see something over there. We're gonna go check that out next. You know, every time I visit an old site like this that's kind of been repurposed for the general public to come visit, I almost wonder what happened to all the work carts and tools and machines and everything that was in this mine. Did they go to another mine or were they left underground? Very weathered. And there were other brands other than Prince Albert. Prince Albert was just one of the more popular ones. So I like to say that miners would throw this stuff out back then, and they said, oh yeah, it's trash. You know, dynamite boxes, tobacco tins and everything. But in this day and age, mine explorers love finding artifacts. Love seeing what they could find underground because it's a treasure. So it's very cool finding that kind of stuff. Oh wow, we got a pipe right here. Kind of hard to tell. You see, it's kind of fools your eyes because how are you supposed to see unless you really get down? You can't really see. Get you a better look at that pipe right there. Right there. Looks like it, like I said, it looks like it goes in that direction. I do see another grate over there, so we'll go check that out. It might just be a shallow. Might just be shallow in there. Yeah, this right here. So if I'm correct, this will just go down and go into there. Let's see. It just looks like kind of hard to tell, honestly. So, given the location of where this one is, I'm willing to bet you're gonna have a drift that will go right down to there. Then that one comes up like that. So we'll come to that conclusion. And we have this one's fenced off over here. Looks like they didn't put these the metal over it. Oh wow, okay. Pretty you know what, those ore cart tracks are actually a pretty thick gauge. Got something buried over here. Got ventilation pipe right there. So I would like to point something out. You have ore cart track over there and you have ore cart track over there. So something was going on in here, over here. So it looks like they were dumping their waste rock out over here. Yep. So I'm willing to bet you that this is just a small exploratory drift. I'm gonna pop in here real quick. Yes, it is. I was right. I just want to relocate my truck so it's closer to where we are. Why walk when you have 4 wheels? This is just a little bit of nothing, really. Well, I'm gonna go and check on the other one now. I was curious as to what that was. So we were standing up there before. I mean, it's only 80, just under 90 degrees, but this is not a place that I would recommend coming to in the summer. Easily over 105, easily. Probably storage for possibly explosives. They had it supported so it wouldn't collapse. It doesn't go anywhere. I thought it did. It looked like a portal from down over there. Pretty cool stuff over here. Not a lot here in terms of artifacts and really interesting things. No head frames or anything. Still a pretty cool sight to see. So I think we're gonna hop back in the truck and we're gonna go over there and check that pile out there and see what's around there. I'm glad I came out here. It's part of Arizona's mining history, and I like to check it all out. So here we are. Well guys, we got the truck stuck out in the middle of nowhere, but we're getting out. So I was going down this hill and I don't want to scratch my truck up there. I came up this okay, but I guess it's just too steep over here. We got it stuck. We got it hung up right here. And so what I did was I got my jack out. It started digging in, the tire started digging in. I got my jack out, jacked up the truck so the front wheels were touching again. You can see how deep of a hole I was in. Got some really thick wood, put it in, and we were getting out. So I got lucky this time, but I definitely got to get a winch on this truck. So yep, let's go on and get out of here. We're back on track here. Got unstuck. We're gonna keep exploring. This is a pretty big shaft right here. And I can't even see the bottom of that one. Picked up again. That is just one deep hole right there. Unbelievable. All right, let's see what else we got here. I wonder if that was the smelter. Let's go over and have a look. Let's go down here. Man,
I'll tell you what, if we had gotten that battle area stuck, we would have been sitting out here till dark. We would have to hike up back to that bathroom to get service. But I think I gotta get a winch and bumper for this thing. We're gonna go up there a minute and get a closer look. So if you can't read this, I'll read it out for you. On May 2nd, 1910, George Mitchell's smelter was blown in and the first copper was poured, reported the Los Angeles Mining Review. On May 7th, 1910, Mitchell wired his Los Angeles and French investors. Started furnace this morning without a hitch and everything running smoothly. Turned out matte, which is refined copper, at the rate of 50 tons per 24 hours. This smelter was George Mitchell's own invention, called the Mitchell Economic Host Blast Furnace. It was moved to Swansea from Globe, Arizona, not too far from where I live. So there's a picture here, and it shows the smelter after it's moved, but you can barely tell what it says. So George and his brother moved to Arizona in the 1880s. They were both involved in Senator William A. Clark Copper Enterprise in Jerome, Arizona. George, superintendent of Clark Smelter, got the urge to go out on his own. By 1907, following the teachings of his mentor promoter, William Cornell Green of Mexico, he swung a wide loop and made big plans and promises. Mitchell left Mexico to look elsewhere, including 2 properties north of Bowers, Arizona, belonging to an old friend T.J. Carrigan and other promoter Newton Evans. He was not impressed with the gold and silver potential of the area, but saw a future in the copper he believed was beneath the surface of the Signal Group. So perhaps this was called the Signal Group Mines? Anyway, Swansea was named for Mitchell's birthplace. He immediately purchased 132 claims in the Signal Group, and he planned a town to support his dream. He capitalized in the Clara Consolidated Gold and Copper Mining Company for $3 million. Shares were valued at $1 each, but through an associate in France, he sold the shares for up to $3.50. Boy, that is cheap. Trains already ran along the Arizona and California Railroad track from Wickenburg to Parker, so Carrigan began to survey a rail line from Bowers to Swansea. Unfortunately, George never did anything in a small way. By 1911, his enormous plant had drained the treasury and the Clara Consolidated was bankrupt. So, it says here, to see more of the smelting process, walk up the steps to the right. So we're going to go up here and we're going to have a bigger look at the smelter. Boy, this was a big one for sure. This is all that remains of it. Beautiful, beautiful view. So there was a lot more here. All that's remaining is the foundation. Do you see some more stuff down there? You can have a look at that later. That might be a bathroom. That right there is a smaller building. Okay, so this was actually the dust chamber part of the whole smelter. I thought this was the smelter. I guess the main smelter was right here. So This brick building was part of the smelting process used to extract copper and small amounts of other metals from the refining process. The hot stack gases, dust, and smoke from the smelters are blown into the structure and returned to the smelter. Waste gas, dust, and smoke exited through the stack at the rear of the building. The shaft hoists and associated mining equipment were either steam-powered or electric. 2 steam-powered generators furnished electricity for the smelter, town, ore trains, and a water pumping station on the Bill Williams River. 3 large water tanks stood on the hill south of the dust chamber. Some estimates say that as much as 400,000 gallons of water per day were required for the smelter and town operations. The Bill Williams River flowed freely in the early 1900s before Alamo Dam was built upstream in 1969. This energy all came from coal, which along with the other supplies required shipping into Swansea by rail. Swansea's survival depended on the copper prices. Copper at one time was selling for 12 cents a pound, cost 15 cents per pound to produce. Attempting to operate the mine, the French investors capitalized another $4 million in stock, hired Lane as the new superintendent, enlarged the operations, and followed Mitchell into bankruptcy. Mitchell regained control of the railroad for a time and sued the French investors. By 1920, following further financial troubles, he retired to Los Angeles. So return to stop 2 and turn right. Stop 4 is at the east of the smelter foundations. This picture was taken in 1976. Man, it's a shame it all collapsed like that. Isn't that impressive? So we're gonna finish checking this stuff out, hop back in the truck, check some of that stuff out there, and I think it'll be a wrap. Unfortunately, there's nowhere cool where we can go underground today, but it's okay. This is a historic site. It shouldn't be any further disturbed than it is. Here's another look at the smelter. And there's another foundation of something down there. We'll check that out in a minute. So we're just gonna drive around and see what else we can see here, and just look from the truck here. But if we see any signs, we'll definitely read them. We've got another shaft right there. Another foundation. Actually, let's go up here and see. Excuse me. Let's go see if this sign says anything. A concentrator and flotation mill, 1919. Okay. There's a general manager's house right here. This one was built in 1909. All right. We're gonna go down there, then go up that way. Company houses, 1910 to 1917. Okay, here we got the railroad track scales. Interesting. This was the railroad station, 1910. Looks like they've been trying to stabilize that one, which is nice. So it looks like you can camp here. I'm seeing like picnic tables and stuff. So if you want to come to Swansea and explore Swansea for a day and then camp in cooler weather, obviously, this is the place to do it. This is called Canyon Railroads. Oh, so it's a 4x4 trail. Cool. Too bad I don't have my Land Cruiser. Alright guys, well, that's gonna be a wrap for this video. Quite the adventure with getting stuck, huh? Anyways, we're heading on home. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. See you in the next one.